Hey, you, right there. Is Genshin anti-religion? I'm asking you right now. And you might be sitting there going, I don't know, dude, why are you asking me? And you know, I wasn't actually. It was rhetorical, but I am going to answer it though, right now. Teyvat, right? A place, a planet, some may argue, and oh boy, does this planet have a lot of divine beings on it. From archons to the heavenly principles to a big ol' snake at some point, I think, to some adepti and big ol' dragons, there is no shortage of minor or major gods to put your faith into. But what is Genshin Impact really trying to say through their portrayals and characterizations of these divine beings? Is there a message about organized religion? About putting your faith into something bigger than you? Or does it champion the individual? The knowledge that one must obtain in order to ascend past the need for godliness. How is Genshin saying all of this? And is it actually, or am I just tweaking? Hey there, I am upright today. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to it. My name is E, as in like enlightenment. And that is exactly what we are doing today, getting enlightened to the truth of how Genshin Impact feels about religion. On this channel, I talk about homosexuality, mental illness, and religion. So I'm just collecting all of the heavy topics like Infinity Stones, I guess. So one fateful day, a member of the Rat Sewer commented this amazing comment right here. And girl, I love you because what an amazing idea. I'm taking it. We did some digging following this comment, and oh boy, do we have some tea for you today. So of course, before we get right into it, make sure to like and subscribe and join us over on twitch.tv/eissocial for a good time. And also, hey, disclaimer, religion is a very heavy topic and I intend to treat it as such. This video is not to share my opinion on the concept of religion or any specific religions. It is to instead look at how Genshin might be portraying religion in this game. We are not talking about all of the real life religions that actually inspired the different regions of Teyvat. That might be another future video, so let me know if you would like that. Okay, had to make that clear because that is not the thesis of the video. The other thing is the thesis of the video. We're going to start the video actually right now, so I will see you in a few seconds now that the video is starting. Okay, bye. Hi, I am back in my chair because my computer can't handle processing a green screen for the whole video, so thanks. So first, let me define what I really mean by anti-religious. Google says, quote, anti-religion is opposition to religion. That was hard to figure out, I guess. It involves opposition to organized religion, religious practices, or religious institutions. So basically, you are like the #1 op to any form of religion, but mayhaps that is too strong of a term that I am going for today. Mayhaps instead we can say Genshin is highly critical of religion and organized religion. Let's see why I actually think so. And hey, spoilers for like literally everything, okay? Especially the end of the Fontaine Archon quest, all right? So you have been warned, don't say I have never warned you before. The Archons, we know them, we love them, and we thirst for them.
Bombastic side-eye. Criminal offensive side-eye.
But honestly, what is their whole gig? To summarize, there are 7 Archons on Teyvat, each the head of their respective nation. As of writing the script, we have just met Focalor, the real Archon of Fontaine. Each Archon is a representative of their respective element, and they are also a god of a particular concept. For example, Rex Lapis is the Geo-Archon while also being the god of contracts. As such, this element and concept influences how this Archon runs, or in this case, ran, his country. Liyue is the geo-region, and also the main hub of commerce in Teyvat. Rex Lapis used to be the money minter, and they have a heavy say in the overall economy of the world due to the contracts that are present in these economical negotiations. Okay, so that is vague on purpose. I am not an economist. I don't understand it. I will let the flow of commerce do its thing with the invisible hand. Just know that is Liyue's gig. Okay? These concepts that the gods are in charge of differ per region and are seemingly at random. We have the god of freedom, of contracts, of eternity, wisdom, and justice. When put next to each other, you can kind of see how they all work together in managing Teyvat and the humans, but it still does not seem entirely cohesive. And this is actually due to the Archon War, a bloody war around 2,000 or so years ago, where all of the gods of Teyvat fought one another until only 7 remained to take the 7 seats and the 7 Gnosi, plural for Gnosis. Osial is a god we are confronted with in-game, where he was one of the losers in this war, and Guizhong, the god of dust, perished in this war too. Rest in peace to a real one. So if these are the gods of Teyvat that are in charge of their nations and their concepts and people, why would they need to fight one another to secure their standing? It is because they are not actually in charge. All Archons report to the head honcho Celestia, where the heavenly principles operate, who has been quiet for the past 500 years. Celestia gave each Archon a gnosis to be able to activate their legitimate divinity and connect themselves to Celestia, which implies that when they lose this gnosis or give it up, then they are no longer considered a legitimate god and have thus lost their upper power with Celestia. I had to give you all of this background, much of which I know many of us are already familiar with, but I wanted to give a good foundation for the topics I want to talk about. And with this, I want to talk about how the Archons are being portrayed. For one, as the traveler, we get to meet, befriend, and even rescue some of these beings. This immediately brings them down to earth, like literally, and removes any sense of mystique that they might have as a disembodied presence that has control over all things. Also, they are strangely very human. Barbatos takes the form of some twink and gets blackout drunk without a penny to his name. Queen shit. Rex Lapis talks too much, is bad with money, and might cause the economic crash of Teyvat because he isn't printing Mora anymore, but that is way too much to think about. God lover, has horrific coping mechanisms and essentially abandoned her nation to mourn her dead sister. Also, she's gay, so, skill issue. Nahida was literally trapped by humans for 500 years since her birth and had to be saved. Like, oh my god, my poor auntie. Other than that, though, she's like perfect. So then Focalor, well, Focalor is dead as a doornail, but Farina is as human as they come, like literally. Each Archon is severely flawed. Genshin portrays them not as perfect, caring beings that manage their people with unbiased authority, as seen in religions such as Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Catholicism, and others, but these Archons act more akin to the Greek and Roman gods of old. They were always up to some shit that caused tea and drama in Mount Olympus, with like Zeus having children with human women every 5 minutes, and a love triangle around Aphrodite. Girl, there is so much tea there. This humanizes the Archons and immediately makes them feel like one of us. They mourn, they get drunk, they get hurt, and most importantly, they die. Only 2 modern-day Archons are from the original group of Archons that won the Archon War. Everyone else has died since then, with the remaining present-day Archons having taken over. The gods can die. It makes them flawed, vulnerable, and somehow delegitimizes them as a proper god with a capital G. Well, that does make sense because they aren't really in control anyways. Keep that in your mind, put a pin in that for a second. I want to first talk about what the Archons may be based on and some real-life religions we can look to further understand what Genshin is trying to say while portraying the Archons in this way. Every single one of their godly names are named after one of the 72 demons described in the Lesser Key of King Solomon, which was a grimoire on sorcery, expanding on the story of King Solomon that isn't like entirely canon to Christian or Jewish groups. But anyways, Baal, Buer, Morax, Barbatos, Focalor, and even Paimon are all described in this grimoire as a certain commanding force in hell, girl. Either they are an archduke, a president, or force commanding legions of hellish soldiers. Beelzebub is like another word for Lucifer, so demon on literal steroids. That's like turbo demon, girl. I bring this up because why, as archons, who are supposed to be the power in the land, named after demons and very powerful ones. This, paired with how flawed they are, continues to paint them in a bad light. Sure, some of these archons aren't perfect, but calling them demons is crazy. It's actually crazy. Additionally, it is widely believed that Gnosticism has a huge influence on Genshin and their characterization of godly beings. Gnosticism is a subgroup of Christianity, but like scholars heavily disagree on who is Gnostic, who isn't, and when it really started, but just know it is believed to start at the beginning of Christianity. Girl, it's a mess. The academics are fighting, I'll be so real. But essentially, let me break down Gnosticism for you in my way of explaining things. In Gnosticism's creation story, which is very important to our discussion today, so pay attention, pay attention. The Father, capital F, is the all-knowing creator of all things, whose reflection in a pool of divine water gave birth to the Mother. They then created aeons, beings that acted as concepts, such as thought and eternal life, and so on and so forth, one of which was Christ. Also, hey, Honkai Star Rail fans, hi. Yeah, these are called aeons. So my theory of Genshin and Honkai Star Rail being in the same universe, I don't know, it's just a theory. A game theory. Okay, one of these lesser aeons, Sophia, or Wisdom, wished to create her own aeon. But because she did a mitosis moment and gave birth to an aeon all by her lonesome, like the asexual queen that she is, the sun kind of came out all funky wonky. This is Yaldabaoth, and a very important figure to this story, who is referred to as the demiurge in Gnostic texts. I looked up how to pronounce Yaldabaoth, and I heard several different pronunciations, so please do not come for me. I'm fighting for my life right now. So my girl Sophia was mortified that he was underbaked and casted him out of the main realm. This also seems to mirror the tea with Hephaestus getting asexually born from Athena and got cast out for being ugly, so seems to be a running theme here. Regardless, my man Yaldabaoth was then all alone and had zero concept of his divine family that was above him. So he was fully under the impression that he was God, capital G. With this assumption, he made the mortal realm as we know it today, along with 7 archons that he created to help him manage the mortal realm and the few layers of heaven that they are responsible for and that they created. But it wasn't like actually heaven, it was like wish.com heaven. These are called archons. It is widely believed that there were 7 of them, though some texts say 12, but let's just say 7, which of course matches with our archons, which there are 7. These archons, along with Yaldabaoth, were described as, honestly, the worst. They were incompetent, bumbling buffoons that just had an attitude problem. They are described as being both male and female in the Gnostic text Reality of Rulers, and had the face of a beast. I wish I knew this when I was making my gender discussion video, but you know, hey, you live and you learn, right? Gnosticism Explained describes them as, quote, malevolent, sadistic beings who controlled the earth, as well as many of the thoughts, feelings, and actions of humans. The face of a literal beast and an overall negative description of these archons work really well in hand with the fact that our archons are named after literal demons and are so flawed. Meanwhile, Yaldabaoth, or the demiurge, was described as, quote, ignorant, malicious, and utterly inferior to the true God who sent Christ to earth to save humankind from the demiurge's evil world. It is important to note how Gnosticism believes that the creator who made the mortal realm, the demiurge or Yaldabaoth, is incompetent and not a true God, and neither are his archons, and he's a total prick. This is what I believe is the same sentiment that Genshin is trying to portray in their characterizations of the archons and in turn Celestia, aka the heavenly principles. Maybe not so harshly, because I don't think that our archons are sadistic or malevolent, but I do question their authority because Genshin makes me question it. So how do they make me question it? Gnosticism's whole creation story really had me mouth agape, reading rapidly in a fever pitch, because not only is it insanely interesting, but also very telling in our story of Genshin. Not only is the word archon used in Gnostic belief, but also the word gnosis, the very thing that connects archons to Celestia. In Greek, gnosis is gnostikos, which means knowledge or leading to knowledge. In Gnosticism, it is one's entire duty to retrieve back your gnosis, or knowledge of you being more divine than the demiurge above you. For it was the true divinity of Sophia and Christ's hand that led humanity to being created. And when we ate at the tree of knowledge, we realized the inherent divinity in us, that the demiurge is a fraud and that we are actually better than him. The demiurge then realized that we were more divine than him. So he took away our knowledge, or our gnosis, so that we would forget how we were superior to him. The concept of knowledge, of who is the true God, and of empowering humanity are all themes also found in Genshin. So again, keep this information at the back of your head, okay? We will circle back to it again, but let's talk about who I am exactly accusing of being this false god in Genshin. It is known that a lot of Tevat's history is either told from an unreliable narrator and that things contradict each other sometimes, so let's just keep it simple and as bare bones as we can while also getting this point across. Who the f is Celestia, bro? And who the hell is the Heavenly Principles? Is this hot lady who whooped our asses at the beginning of the game the Heavenly Principles, or just someone who acts for them or sustains them, I guess? I don't know. Do we know? Girl. Nope. But what I do know is that they're all total pricks. From my understanding of the very complex lore in several books in Tevat and theories from Auntie Nahida, the original rulers of Tevat were the 7 dragon sovereigns, who represented the 7 elements of Tevat. They were usurped by the first descender, an alien not from Tevat, who Nahida believes is the Heavenly Principles, aka the thing that's in charge today. In this great fight, almost everything was destroyed. The Dragon King Nebelong sought to use the power of forbidden knowledge to fight against the Heavenly Principles. The Heavenly Principles then sought to suppress this forbidden knowledge through the use of divine nails, which are the nails that we see in Dragonspine and in the Chasm, to stop this flow of forbidden knowledge. The divine nails worked, and the Heavenly Principles reigned victorious, but the effects of the divine nails proved to be very ass for everyone living on Tevat. These nails are theorized to be the real reason why the ley lines are all funky and weird. The stories contradict each other a lot. One story said that the Dragon King sent down the divine nails, and another story said the Heavenly Principles did, so there is some confusion, but that's what I got from my research. So the Heavenly Principles came, they saw, they suppressed knowledge, and they conquered. Typical British Empire moment, am I right, boys? Keep the thought of suppressing knowledge and being a false god in your head. You might see where I'm cooking with this, okay? Later in history, Orobashi, who was a lesser god who fell into taking care of the people of Enkanomiya, stumbled upon a book called Before Sun and Moon, where he learned of these truths, that the Heavenly Principles are aliens and frauds. Learning these truths caused the Heavenly Principles to force him to sacrifice himself, which then uprooted Enkanomiya Watatsumi citizens and caused war on Yashiori Island, where A then executed Orobashi with her big hot woman sword. It's a little confusing because how did he sacrifice himself but also get killed by A? Regardless of how the dude died, he died, okay? He was a snake and he died. And ultimately, he was punished for having knowledge. The truth. Khaenri'ah, a nation 500 years ago that was so technologically advanced that they did not need a god, dared to question the Heavenly Principles too. They lived independent of a god and thought themselves the pride of humankind, creating large machines and advancing in alchemy. They paid the price for their boldness and were deemed sinners, as the Heavenly Principles wiped them off the face of the earth, and with the help of the archons we know and love today. Pure-blooded Khaenri'ans are cursed with immortality and are forced to wander the earth. Meanwhile, the rest of the citizens were deformed into the Haley Trolls we know today, or abyssal creatures and they're all like up now, so it's pretty intense, okay? There are a few hypotheses for why Khaenri'ah was destroyed in the Cataclysm. One is that they suspected that the heavenly principles were aliens from afar and not true gods. Another theory is that they committed an ultimate sin with their breakthroughs in alchemy and that they created life, which Gold, or Ryandaughtr, who's Albedo's creator, was attributed with. This sinner category and divine punishment is also seen in Egeria's story, where they gave the gift of life to oceanids and created humans from them, a sin that Focalor and Fri later had to pay for. Through these examples and more too, the heavenly principles see themselves as the ultimate god, and they do not want us to know that they are a fake. They suppress knowledge and make those who obtain it pay the ultimate price. The literal way they suppressed knowledge was stopping the forbidden knowledge that the Dragon King sought to weaponize against them in the original war. We can also see this theme of dangerous knowledge with Greater Lord Rukkhadevata and King Deshret of old, where Irminsul was contaminated with forbidden knowledge that tainted the land and where King Deshret had to sacrifice himself to erase it. Later, of course, the Greater Lord would also erase herself from history to officially seal off all of the forbidden knowledge again that had been causing withering zones and causing illnesses like Elazar. It is interesting for the game to pose knowledge as this tangible thing that can hurt and affect things in the mortal realm. These stories paint the heavenly principles in a horrific light, which leads me to boldly say they must be Genshin's version of the demiurge. Alright, so we take all of these facts and then put it into conversation with Gnosticism, and it paints the picture that the demiurge in Teyvat would be the heavenly principles, and that it is our ultimate end goal to use knowledge, or the gnosis, to be able to ascend past them or defeat them. The Tsaritsa seems to be doing just that. She is collecting all of the gods' gnosi, all of the knowledge, to combat against the heavenly principles. The Abyss Order, with the power of the Abyss, and our sibling are gearing up to do just that as well. The Archons, who were supposed to be our real gods, not only aren't, but they were puppets for the ultimate fake god. These Archons that we know and love helped this false god wipe out an entire civilization for knowing too much. It is the ultimate realization in Gnosticism that human beings are more than what we think we are. It was the false god, the demiurge, that made us forget that we were more powerful and more divine than that false god. That is what I think the overall story of Genshin is. Fighting the fake divinity and realizing the ultimate potential of humans. So, okay, we are for sure throwing hands with Celestia at the end of the story. Like, come on now. The heavenly principles are the demiurge in Gnosticism, and they were never supposed to be in charge. But recognizing that the gods are fake and without true original authority does not necessarily mean that Genshin is anti-religious or highly critical of it. And then we remember moments like in Kariber's quest, when we see the wrath of a father for what has happened to his child, who has been cursed by the gods themselves. Clothar looked up at the Statue of the Seven in this quest, hoping for help one last time, only to be ignored again. Him cursing at the gods for the tragedies they have unleashed on him and his people is a very powerful scene, one that makes you see the world through his eyes and feel his resentment for something that was supposed to be holy, that was supposed to protect us. We also get reminded of the torturous curse placed on Dainsleif and other pure-blooded Khaenri'ahns, where he is to live forever for being a pure-blooded Khaenri'ahn, a sinner who dared to question. We read how in Oribashi's final moments, he turned his eyes up to the heavens with a scowl, a glare of pure defiance to the ones above. And then we remember what the Archons are doing right now in the present day. They're giving up. Venti let his gnosis get stolen. Be so for real right now, okay? Senora did not actually deck him. Come on, he gave it up. Don't play with me, okay? Zhongli gave up his gnosis in a contract that he is forbidden to utter the contents of. A has long since cut her ties with Celestia after having given the gnosis to Yai a while ago. Nahida also gave up her gnosis to Dottore in a deal, and Neuvillette gave up the hydrognosis in a diplomatic gift to Arlecchino. Focalor sacrificed herself in order to transfer her power over to Neuvillette, who's a descender of the 7 dragon sovereigns, aka the original and true power of Teyvat. The rebellion against a higher power, the heavenly principles, the demiurge, the fake god, has begun. The age of humanity seems to be ushering in, and the game seems to tell us to celebrate this. Through these depictions of the archons, with their ties to Gnosticism and the meaning behind their names of the heavenly principles and how much they truly reflect the demiurge, and the horrific tales found around Teyvat seem to be saying that it is good for us to question, to rebel, and to dare against this higher power. The people of Mondstadt have been self-sufficient for a long time. The time of the Adepti and Rex Lapis has long passed, which is something Kaching herself remarks on. The Liyue Chising runs Liyue. Zhongli realized this himself and gave up his power willingly. A has been hands-off for a while and has accepted the need for progress for her people. And Nahida, who hasn't been around for 500 years, is acting more as a caregiver for her people than an absolute authority. And of course, with the death of Focalor, there is no Archon seat for Fontaine anymore. The original ruler, the Hydra Sovereign, has been rightfully reinstated with this power. The Abyss, made up of damned sinners, prepares to fight, and so does the Tsaritsa, another Archon. The game seems to be telling us that it is through knowledge, or this gnosis, that we are able to realize the inherent power within us. That humans do not need a god to look after us. We are capable enough on our own. And like in Gnosticism, we will soon remember that we are destined to usurp the fake god, the demiurge, the heavenly principles. Genshin isn't a story about gods and fantastical powers. It's a story about humanity and the inherent divinity of being human. Yo, that was so much fun to talk about. I hope any of that made sense. This is more of like a theory-ish kind of video that I don't really do on this channel, but it's still a lot of fun, so I hope you liked it. And if you did like it, please like the video. That would be amazing. And subscribe because I'm just a little guy. And also, if you want to talk about this and other fun stuff, join us over on twitch.tv/eissocial. So usually on the channel, I make Genshin and fandom discourse videos, so comment any topic you would like me to cover in the future, because as you can see, I do it all, baby. Also, we have merch too, and also follow my socials here, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. That's all from me. Go watch my other videos if you would like to, and of course, if I don't see you on Twitch, then hey, I will see you in the next one, all right? Bye.